3:30 Eastern, ABC, the Swamp, Texas A&M, favored by 4.5. So Florida, a little home dog right now. To me, this is the gut check bowl. This is the gut check bowl. There's no way around it. Florida looked just bad against Miami. Call a spade a spade. You got to rebound here. You got to rebound. In some sense, like, this is the game where you can tell everyone, calm the heck down. Okay? If we beat Texas A&M at the crib, restabilize momentum a little bit, the conversation around Billy Napier and his job probably dies down a bit as well. Be massive. It would be absolutely massive. Chance to kind of also tweak the optics around that Miami game, I think, because let's be real here. So far, Miami looks like a college football playoff team, which we thought they would be in the preseason. If you're able to get a win against another SEC team, Texas A&M with a good roster, like, again, the optics around your team would be a little bit improved. We'll leave it at that. Florida Gator fans, Texas A&M fans, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. We will have instant reaction to this game as soon as it ends. We'll have instant reaction the day after. Make sure you're locked in so you don't miss a minute of the greatest sport on the face of planet Earth. This prediction is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy, helping us all squeeze the juice out of this college football season. How to play? Super straightforward. We play exclusively from the college football board, but there's a bunch of sports if you want to play over there. You pick different player projections or squares, pick the more or less on 2 or more player projections, you're off to the races. Right now, they have a free square, essentially, with Caleb Williams, half a passing yard. I mean, that's theft. That's stealing a free square right there. Pair it with whatever other square you want. You're off to the races. Use code HARDCOUNT. When you do that, $5 in lineups gets you $50 in promo funds. Again, code HARDCOUNT at prizepicks.com. A $5 lineup just for playing with that code gets you $50 in promo funds. Back to the prediction. Texas A&M, this is the game where you say, okay, what kind of year are we going to have? And I know it's week 3, so I don't want to blow the impact of this game out of proportion. But like the loss to Notre Dame doesn't really help the way that you view Mike Elko right now. It's only year 1. You're not making a definitive statement on his job or anything like that. Way too early. Way too early for that. But if you can't beat Florida, you're like, okay, here we go. Like it might be one of those years, boys. Might be one of those years. One of those years where we said it wasn't a rebuild, it was a reboot. Sometimes reboots, you kind of get that spinning color wheel of death on your Mac whenever it's like rebooting or restarting or buffering. Like, that would be the feeling if you lose to Florida. And that's a coach who a lot of people think is going to lose his job. That's a roster a lot of people don't think is going to make a bowl game, and we can't beat them. Okay, maybe we're a little bit further back than we thought we were. So here's the main storyline in this game. Who's playing quarterback for Florida? There's a lot of folks that think it's DJ Lagway. A lot of folks that think it should be the true freshman DJ Lagway. He definitely brings a different variable of just the kind of the plays that you call. Like, the mobility is obvious. The physical gifts that he has are obvious. I spoke to someone that is close to Florida yesterday, and he didn't have a definitive take on this. He just said he would be wildly surprised if Graham Mertz isn't the starter. So I'm going to take his word for it. I'm going to break this game down as if Graham Mertz is the starting quarterback. Now, if it doesn't end up being that way, then we're obviously going to, have another conversation to be had about this game. There's now injury reports from the SEC that I believe we'll get clarity on Wednesday night, so a little over 24 hours from now. We're breaking down this game as if Graham Mertz will be the starter. DJ Lagway will have a role. Okay, that is our take here. And honestly, I understand the thought that, hey, DJ Lagway, he gives Billy Napier the best chance to save his job and all those things. And I'm like, y'all, if you can't beat Texas A&M with a 6-year starting quarterback, if a freshman quarterback gives you a better chance to win the football game, like, that in itself to me is a little bit of a cause for concern in terms of what this roster has on it, neither here nor there. The thing with me with why, if it's me, why I like Graham Mertz to start for Florida, he, to me, just gives you the chance to run your entire offense. Now, again, if you're DJ Lagway and he's playing quarterback, you can call more quarterback design runs. You have a little bit more of that it factor in terms of when the play breaks down, what can he do for you? That's true, but like if I'm Billy Napier, I want my 6-year quarterback out there and running the show. I want him to be the guy in the moment that's going to dictate if we win or lose the football game. That, to me, is the more secure way to go about it. Now, my expectation for Florida in their game plan here, I think they're going to try to work this whole thing outside in. Okay, now I think they want to run the football. Don't get it twisted, but to me, like, the players that have to touch the ball for Florida, Trey Wilson. I'll say the same thing I said before the Miami game. Trey Wilson needs to see the football. I would argue double-digit times. That sounds hyperbolic. I'm just saying, if you want to win, your best players touch the ball. That's pretty straightforward for any game, period. Whether it's this game, whether it's the LSU South Carolina game, whatever game you're breaking down, the best players need to impact the game. I think Trey Wilson is the best player on this team. So that's how I feel about it. I'd be surprised if they didn't try and start with some quick game, get Graham Merchant into the flow of things, and then be able to feed Montrell Johnson as the game wears on. Because Texas A&M now, as unsure as you are about Florida's offensive line, A&M, I think, left some things to be questioned as well about what they're going to do in their front seven, allowing darn near 200 yards on the ground against Notre Dame. So it is what it is. Now, if you're A&M, I think it's very clear that they want to throw the football. Like Connor Weigman had 30 attempts against Notre Dame. Some of that's down in distance. Some of that's the situations that you're in. But like overall, I think they want to let him spin it. But to me, like this game feels very much so like a Le'Veon Moss set the table game. Be a Le'Veon mess for Florida, pun intended. He had 4 yards of carry against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame's a good defense now. I think you need to allow him to bear the load on the front end, try and create some matchups man-to-man, and like, here's the game, or here's the game within the game that could decide this whole thing. Texas A&M, your wide receivers need to win one-on-one. The secondary was a cause for concern last year for Florida. They were not good. They're improved, but like, you better test that. You better test that, because if you can't win in man-to-man coverage against Florida, it's going to be a long day. Because if I'm Florida, I'm taking Notre Dame's blueprint and I'm copying and pasting it and saying, all right, we're playing man coverage on the outside. We're getting downhill in the box. We're meeting you with nosebleed intensity. Like, let's go. If you can beat us over the top, if your guys can separate, which they did not show they could do against Notre Dame, all right, more power to you. If your quarterback can't beat us, which, again, he showed against Notre Dame he was not able to do, he can't level up, like, all right, Florida's going to have a real good chance to win this game. Also, playing to their crowd, if they're able to have some success getting after that front of Texas A&M, things will start to roll. Things will start to roll. Now, it's also worth noting here, Cam Ward went for almost 400 yards against Florida. So if I'm Connor Weigman, I'm saying, all right, this is the game where I have to cement myself as a catalyst for this offense. Okay, now, going back to what I just said about the A&M receiving core, there's got to be somebody that steps up as the alpha there too. I mean, whether it's Walker, whether it's Thomas, whoever it is, somebody has to step up and say, okay, I'm the guy you go to on 3rd and 7. Get me one-on-one. Give me a chance. Let's go. Very curious to see who wins that matchup. And if Florida does, in fact, play the man coverage route that we saw Notre Dame do in that first week of the season in College Station. So that's kind of the matchup when it comes to breakdowns, or the breakdowns when it comes to matchups. But, like, the more that I think about the pick in this game, it's hard to not try and account for the unquantifiables, which makes zero sense. And that's why we love college football. It's because South Carolina can look very mediocre against Old Dominion and then go to Lexington, Kentucky and put a hurting on them. Like, you don't know what you're getting week in and week out. If you're Florida, you're at home. If not now, then when? Right? Like, everything said about your head coach, everything said about your team, your roster. If not now, then when? And so I have said for the better part of the last few months, I think Florida's a lot better than they're being given credit for nationally. They did not show any signs of life against Miami. So to be very clear, we were way off on our Miami take there when it comes to Florida. However, I am trusting that this team is going to look much improved from the Miami game. I think they're going to apply pressure and get home on Connor Weigman the way they weren't able to get home on Cam Ward. I don't yet trust A&M's receiving core. So I'm going to take Florida to be able to throw the football effectively and then capitalize on the run game with Montrell Johnson. I think Graham Mertz plays in this game. I think he's your starter. I think he solidifies why he's your starter in this football game. And I think Florida shows themselves as the team that we expected to see against Miami from an intensity perspective, from an execution perspective. I think they win the game. I think it's close, but we're going to take Florida to win 24, Texas A&M 21. So we like Florida to win, and with them being the home dog, we're taking Florida to cover. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.